The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
In just a few short days, history is going to be made in New York City at a world-renowned venue, Madison Square Garden. That's right, MSG, 45 and soon to be 47. Our esteemed, amazing, great president, Donald J. Trump, will be on stage at a sold-out crowd inside of Madison Square Garden, where the New York Knicks play, where the New York Rangers play, where Israeli singing sensation Yishai Ribu had 2 sold-out crowds in the past 2 years. But that's not the history that's going to be made there. That day, on stage, along with President Donald Trump, my good man, my good friend, Sid Rosenberg, will be talking on stage. We'll be on stage talking to that sold-out crowd over there. That's right. Donald Trump, Sid Rosenberg, under the same roof in New York City. They'll be bringing down the house. Make sure you're there. Show up. Support Donald Trump for president. Support my man, the #1 talk show host in all of America and worldwide, Sid Rosenberg. Make sure you vote red. Make sure you vote for Donald Trump. It's going to be amazing.
You tell him. My friend Gabriel Boxer, known in Nassau County as the kosher guru. He was in Israel with me a couple of weeks ago. He was in Italy this morning. Trump and Rosenberg together. Talking about Trump. This one's my favorite. She's been so good to me. You know, she's been on really every 2 weeks for the better part of about a year and a half. And she's great, man. She's the RNC co-chair, her and Watley saving the RNC. Just a great spokesman for the Trump family and America. My dear friend, the lovely Lara Trump. Lara, 13 days.
Good morning.
What's going
13
on?
Days. Well, you say I've been on about every 2 weeks. It's like I'm going to come on every 2 days now. So I hope everybody's excited to hear from me.
Let's do it.
You're going to get exhausted from hearing from Trump's coming up real soon. But yeah, 13 days. Let's go, people. Make sure you get out and vote.
How excited are you for Sunday? I'm assuming, of course, that you and Eric are going to be in that building. I mean, I know you were born in North Carolina, and I know you live in Florida now, but you spent a lot of years right here in New York City. And for your father-in-law to be at the Mecca, Michael Jordan, you went to the same high school as Michael Jordan in Wilmington, North Carolina. He played for the Bulls. He still referred to Madison Square Garden as the Mecca, and that's where your father-in-law is going to speak on Sunday. How wild is that?
Oh my! Well, yes, you are correct. We will be there, and even though I was born in North Carolina, I consider that my home state, and I live in Florida. I think they say you have to live in New York for like 8 or 9 years before you consider yourself a New Yorker. I lived there for 16 years, Sid. I believe I am still a New Yorker.
Yes.
Once you live there, it's in your blood, it's in your soul. I do love that city. We're going to bring New York back. Let's be very clear. Donald Trump has said it. When he's president of the United States, let's make sure we start working on our beautiful cities like New York. It's the best. But this situation on Sunday, coming up in the heart of Manhattan at Madison Square Garden, you're right, it is the Mecca. And to have Donald Trump there, first of all, I'm sure the Democrats are beside themselves, can barely handle it. We know he trolls them constantly, like at McDonald's or wherever he's going. Yeah. This is maybe the most epic troll. It's in their backyard, and it's a place they never thought Donald Trump would show up. But I got to tell you, Sid, the reason that he's going there is because you've seen Donald Trump consistently this campaign go places where Republicans don't traditionally go. He had that rally in the Bronx. You've seen him in Detroit. You've seen him in Chicago, in Atlanta. Donald Trump is going out and he's asking for every American, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter your religion, no matter who you love, to vote for him because he wants to work for you. He's going to make that case at Madison Square Garden. And I think the fact that we will be less than 2 weeks out, which we are right now, you know, like 10 days away from this election when he's there, I think 9 days actually, it's so appropriate for this to be the way that Donald Trump wraps up what I think we can all agree is historic and maybe the most epic political campaigning career of anyone's possible lifetime. We're never going to see anything like Donald Trump ever again.
There's no doubt about that. In fact, I'm going to tell you something. We have a mutual friend, a very, very close friend. She's going to be in these studios on Friday, and she works very closely with you and Mike at the RNC. And I actually met you the first time because of her at a party here in New York many, many years ago. So she went to vote early yesterday. She's got a big sticker on Instagram, the whole thing. And I said, who'd you vote for? Of course, I was kidding. So she goes, I got to tell you, Sid. She goes, I'm sad. I go, what do you mean you're sad? What do you mean? You just voted for Trump. She goes, I did, but it occurred to me when I walked out of there, that's the last time I'm going to vote for Trump. And she made me sad when she said that because no disrespect to DeSantis or Haley or Youngkin or who knows who, this is the end of, I agree with you, the most epic era, I think, in my political lifetime.
It is. And I mean, there's never been a Donald Trump before. There will never be a Donald Trump again. And I think that if you go back to that day in June of 2015, when he came down that golden escalator, I mean, the world wasn't ready. The political landscape wasn't ready, but he changed it. And whether you love Donald Trump or you don't, you have to admit that he has really invigorated so many people and really gotten so many people involved in politics. And I think that's a good thing. We should pay attention to these things because it does impact our lives. We should get to know the people who, we're electing to lead us and represent us in Washington, D.C., and it's really incredible. I kind of have that same sentiment. Eric and I are going to go vote early, obviously in Florida, but I'm kind of like hanging on to it as long as I can. So I understand why Liz was feeling that way.
Right,
I want everybody to take a look around right now, though, and really take it in because you're part of history, ladies and gentlemen, no matter who you are or where you live. And what you think of Donald Trump, this is history. We're living through it right now. And sometime, decades from now, people are going to say, what was it like? You're living in it right now. And make sure you get out and vote so you can tell people, I went and voted for him for that final election and made sure he was the 47th president.
I want to talk about the voting process, too. But, look, he's hopefully going to win and serve again. And I know, Lara, that you got kids, you're a great mom, you've got a life, and this really takes up a lot of time, this political stuff. And your husband, Eric, is a great, great businessman. So not everybody in the Trump family is looking forward to spending 19 hours a day in politics, but maybe your brother-in-law, Junior, I don't know. But is there almost a responsibility from you guys as a family, not individually, but from a family to carry on the tradition? Do the Trumps want to be the Republican version of the Kennedys?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I don't think any of us had any inclination, Sid, whenever we first started in this whole thing, that any of this would have occurred. Of course, you're going to support your family member. And I think we all were there the day he announced he was running for president. And we naively kind of thought, oh, well, how bad could this possibly be? He told us so. He's the one who sat us all down before he came down the escalator a couple days before that. And he said, listen, if I do what's necessary and I do the job that the United States needs, people are going to come after me, but they're also going to come after all of you. And I think you guys need to fully understand that. And I want to make sure everybody appreciates what that means and you guys are on board. Of course, we're like, yeah, of course, whatever. Who knows? And look at how crazy things have gotten. I do think we feel a responsibility to right now ensure that the country is headed in the right direction. It's why we've all taken time out of our lives. You're right. I have two young kids. Literally this morning, I got to do my daughter's hair to go to school, which made her whole day.
Awesome.
Because oftentimes I'm not here in the mornings.
Yeah.
To say that we would want to carry on this legacy, they've made it so pleasant for us in politics. Sid, who wouldn't want to jump back into this game? But I want to win this election. I want to make sure that this country is saved. The world is saved right now. Let's do that. And then I would never say never because, when your last name is Trump, Donald Trump has showed all of us, you can never say never to anything.
No, that's true. And again, no disrespect to the rest of your family. I love all of you. I think you're the closest thing to the president of all the Trumps out there once your father-in-law calls it quits. But anyway, I want to get back to the voting. I do. I really believe that.
That's a statement, Sid.
I know. That's a big statement. But I got to tell you, I got Democrats You know, people don't realize this. This is why this show is so important. Democrats do listen to this show because I talk sports, I talk about the family, I'm cute, the whole thing. So Democrats do listen, not in big numbers, but they do listen. And every time you're on, they go, I'd vote for her. I'd vote for her. Just so you know. True story. So I'm in the gym the other day, and some lady calls me. She goes, "Sid, come here. I never met her before." She goes, "I'm a big fan of this. I got to talk to you." What's the matter? What's the matter, sweetheart? What's going on? She goes, "What's this thing with Trump? All of a sudden, he's all for early voting." I go, sweetie, listen to me carefully. He's not for early voting, okay? If it was up to President Trump, it would be done the way it used to be done. Show up on Election Day on Tuesday and vote. That's what he wants. That's what I want. But you know what? That's not the way it is. And he keeps getting burnt in these elections, so he's not for early voting. He's not enthusiastic about early voting. All he's saying is, it's not going to go the way I want it to go, so at least do what they do and get out there and vote early. Is that the right way to present what I said to the lady? Is that accurate?
I think that's fairly accurate. I think if Donald Trump had his way, and I think if a lot of people had their way in this country, we would have one day of voting. Maybe we make it a federal holiday. We would all have voter ID, and we would all use paper ballots so that there was less, people that question the outcome of elections. Now, I will say I've worked very hard at the RNC over the past 7 months, alongside Michael Whatley, like you said earlier in the interview, to make sure that we have free, fair, and transparent elections, to make sure that any nefarious activity is brought to a halt. And we have we put out a lofty goal of 100,000 people to train to be poll watchers, poll workers, and legal experts on the ground. Sid, as of about a week ago, we have trained 230,000 people nationwide to do these jobs, which is amazing. I mean, I'm even blown away with us. But I say that to say to this woman or anybody out there who's thinking about why it's important to vote early and why we're pushing it from the RNC and the Trump campaign, it's because we cannot go into Election Day so far behind. Life happens for people. Look, my kids, somebody gets sick, you have to go into work, you can't get out that day. You've seen in certain elections around this country, think about the election Carrie Lake had a couple of years ago. You had a very red district in Arizona with lines around the block on Election Day, and this one particular polling location had all the machines that shut down for some reason, and I'll say for some reason in air quotes, but I digress. For some reason, they all got shut down, and these people couldn't wait all day. You can't wait 10 hours to go vote. So they got out of line, and she lost that election. My point is we want you to bank your vote. Get it locked in. We've made sure your vote will count from the RNC. And then we want you to encourage people from that moment up to Election Day to get out and vote. And that's how we're going to make it too big to rig and swamp the vote. And the important thing that people need to remember, too, is once you voted, we take you off our list. I know we harass the heck out of people. My mom even tells me herself, I've gotten a lot of texts and emails from you. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom. It's almost over.
Me too.
But we'll take you off the list, and then, Sid, we can use our resources to actually identify and go after those low propensity voters, the people who don't vote every election cycle, but they'll go out and they'll vote Trump and they'll vote Republican down the ticket. That's going to be the way we win.
Love it. And I'm right there with your mom. Yesterday I got a hat or something. I don't know. Lara Trump joining me right here. I love that.
Sid, you can't escape us. We're everywhere.
I know. So I want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard. It's anecdotal, but there's some very famous people here in New York. Dov Hikind was an assemblyman, Lara, for the better part of 40 years. I convinced him to vote for Trump. He was a Democrat his whole life, 70 years. There's a influencer. Her name is Lizzie Savetsky. She's in Israel right now. Very popular influencer, New Yorker. She's voting for Trump. I'm very, very close to getting people like Michael Rappaport and Alan Dershowitz to vote for Trump, too. And here's Tulsi Gabbard with Trump yesterday saying, let me tell you something. Not only am I no longer a Democrat, but as of today, because of you, President Trump, right now, I am a Republican. This would have been unheard of 4 or 6 years ago, but clearly the country is longing for the leadership of your father-in-law when Democrats are voting for Trump.
Well, yeah, and not only voting. I mean, the fact that she came out and said she is now going to be a registered Republican, I think is huge because it really speaks to the fact that you've seen the Democrat Party move so far left that so many people who once upon a time considered themselves just kind of the average middle-of-the-road Democrat are saying, I don't even recognize this party. It's why Tulsi Gabbard left the party and has now said, actually, my values more closely align with Republicans. I'm going to register as a Republican, which is huge. It's why someone with the last name Kennedy RFK Jr., whose family's name is synonymous with Democrat politics, has come out and said, I'm endorsing Donald Trump. I'm voting for Donald Trump. These are really big things for people, because I think it does make someone, who might be undecided right now, stop and say, let me take a look at this. Let me reassess this. When you have Elon Musk coming out and telling people so emphatically that if we do not vote for Trump, we may not see another election. Elon Musk was considering coming to that Al Smith dinner last week. And instead of coming to the Al Smith dinner, you know what he did, Sid? He said, actually, I don't want to leave the state of Pennsylvania. Can I stay and campaign in Pennsylvania? That is how enthusiastic people are, and how important they know this election truly is. So I think it is huge when you have Tulsi Gabbard switch her party. I think it's huge when you have RFK Jr. come out and endorse Trump. I think it's huge when Elon Musk is so into this election, he won't even leave the state of Pennsylvania. I love it.
We want that state, and he's gone a step further, Elon, giving millions of dollars to people in that state, and I love Elon Musk. On the way out, I just had a very interesting conversation, Lara, with Peter King from Long Island. You know Peter. And he brought up the Al Smith dinner. And I look at your father, for example, your father-in-law, what he did for Israel, and going to these Al Smith dinners. He's always the funniest guy in the place. He had some great lines a couple of weeks ago. You look at Kamala, okay? She blew off Bibi Netanyahu, speaking in front of Congress, to go to some glorified dopey sorority party in Indiana, because she's a dope. She blows off the Al Smith dinner, blows it off, and does some really stupid video with an SNL star from 40 years ago. I said to Pete, I go, no respect for the Jews, no respect for the Catholics. How can anybody in this country win the presidency when they blow off the Jews and the Catholics in a 2-month span?
And then at her rally, I think 2 days later, at some event she was having, she had a couple of people in the crowd who were very outspoken Christians. And she said, I think you're at the wrong rally.
Oh,
you are, it's outrageous to see the things that Kamala Harris has done. And, I was at the Al Smith dinner, and I got to tell you, when that video played of her, first of all, she phoned it in, right? Like she couldn't even show up there. She sent a video in, and instead of actually doing the work herself to tell a couple of jokes, which how hard could it be? I'm sure somebody could have written her a couple of jokes and sent a video in. She even farmed out the fact that she had to do something funny to another person. Nobody in this country should take Kamala Harris seriously. Sid, she didn't get a single vote. 14 million people voted for Joe Biden. We know that. Not a single person voted for her. She was labeled and considered to be one of the least popular vice presidents in history, and was actually utilized for a lot of people, in a lot of people's minds, as an insurance policy for Joe Biden up until, when Joe Biden absolutely fell flat on his face in that June 27th debate against Donald Trump. No one is buying that Kamala Harris is the person for this job. Not only is she not fit to do this job or capable of doing this job, she also doesn't want to put the work in on the front end to even get people's vote. She's farming it out. She's not doing the job necessary. And to your point, she's absolutely disregarding huge voting blocks of people and just in general insulting people with this sort of behavior. I don't know how any person out there could truly vote for her, especially take all of that out. Look at the policies, look at your life, look at how much better off you were with Donald Trump in the White House. I just think that that's the way people are going to vote. But we're not taking our foot off the gas, Sid. 13 days. We're going to be pumping this message out there all across the country. And I can't wait till election night. We got to go to bed early. I always say it because I'm exhausted. Let's wrap it up early with a big win for Donald Trump.
Oh, God, I hope so. From your mouth to God's ears. I'm very, very confident. I agree with Jason Miller and you, Miller on Waters last night, that, we can't be complacent, but I'm always nervous. And I'm sure you guys will be even more nervous. And Sunday's going to be spectacular. I can't wait to see you, Eric, and your father-in-law, the whole crew. On the way out, give out those two websites, A, to swamp the vote, and B, to continue to donate towards the Trump campaign.
Yeah, well, if you want to donate, we can always use more money. We've got to get this word out across the country. We've got to make this thing too big to rig. DonaldJTrump.com is the website for donations. If you want to find out whether or not you're registered to vote, how to vote, and where to vote early in your area, how to do a mail-in ballot, swampthevoteusa.com. We have all the info you need right there. Again, swampthevoteusa.com. And let's go make this thing too big to rig. Let's win this big league, as Donald Trump says. I can't wait for November 5th. It's going to be a great celebration.
No, I'll text you later because I do want if you can do it, honestly. I know everybody wants you. Fox News wants you, Maria. But if you can come on a couple of times before next Tuesday, that'll be great because you're amazing. I love you. Great job today, Lara. We'll see you Sunday. We're going to win. Great to talk to you.
We'll see you then.
All right.
You, Sid.
All right, Lara. The great Lara Trump right there, everybody. The great Lara Trump, 13 days away from the election.